For those who are listening on podcast, you are staring at Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland in a very unfortunate frozen image, but this is how their video started. I did not do it like this to embarrass them. Now I'm going to back out and we're going to play this and listen to it together for the first time.
Hey everyone, I'm here in my office today with the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Chrystia Freeland, because by the time you watch this, it'll be budget day. We're going to be presenting our federal budget with our plan for how to grow the economy and support Canadians. Je peux pas vous dire tout ce qui est dedans.
I can't tell you everything that's in it. Dans son français, je peux pas vous dire tout ce qui est dedans. Okay? Je ne peux pas vous dire tout ce qui est là-dedans. I can't tell you everything that's in it.
Je peux vous dire qu'il y a trois grandes priorités dans ce
But I can tell you that there are three priorities
budget.
in the budget.
Précisément, Monsieur le Président.
Exactly, Monsieur le Prime Minister.
We're going to focus.
That's the extent of Chrystia Freeland's French, from what I understand. I'm joking, sorry. And not to make fun of anybody for not being able to speak French. Not everyone in Canada is perfectly bilingual. More power to them. Oh, but let's hear what they have to say. The question is this, Monsieur Trudeau, mon dear chef. Will the budget balance itself?
On our three big priorities. First, making life more affordable for you and your family.
So we're going to shut you down and put you out of business, but cut your Disney Plus and you can save $12 a month for those who are even subscribed to that satanic Disney channel in the first place. Ooh, I think we might have it on our... No, I'm fairly certain we canceled that a long time ago.
So you can pay the bills at the end of the month. Second, strengthening our universal public health care
Look at these eyes.
And
She's
third,
so confident in what she's saying. It comes so naturally to her because they believe in it. They put it together that where the hell is she looking? Oh, I can tell you where she's looking. Read the lines, Mrs. Freeland. Read the line.
building a clean economy so we have even more great middle-class jobs in
Building a green economy so that we have even more good middle class.
Canada. Et évidemment, Monsieur le
And
Premier ministre,
obviously,
on prendra une approche responsable du côté fiscal.
We're going to have a responsible fiscal approach to all of this. Évidemment, Monsieur le Premier ministre. This is as natural as saccharin.
Parce qu'on ne veut pas ajouter de l'huile sur le feu d'inflation.
We don't want to throw oil on the fire of inflation. Can you believe it? This is 90 seconds, or I should say 93 seconds, of stupidity. We're going to make life more affordable while acknowledging massive inflation. We're going to make life more affordable by creating green jobs, which means shutting down other jobs, because Canada contributes less than 1% to all global emissions, even if you take for granted the argument that emissions are what's causing global warming. Keep going. Look to your boss. What does he have to say?
Ça va être un budget sérieux pour un moment sérieux.
It's going to be a serious budget for a serious moment.
On va faire bien des choses pour vous aider avec les coûts de la vie.
We're going to do a lot of things to help you with life costs or costs of life,
Et
costs of living,
à rendre la vie plus abordable, pour
to make life more affordable,
livrer concrètement des résultats dans notre système de santé.
to deliver concrete results in our healthcare system. Because you've only had 8 years to do it, you incompetent nincompoop.
Et aussi pour créer une économie croissante et verte avec des bons emplois pour la classe moyenne.
To create a wonderful economy, a flourishing economy, and a green economy that will, benefit the middle class.
Au cours
Look
des
at
semaines
Chrystia.
à venir, on va
She's
être en
so
train de
proud.
partager ça ici et à travers le pays. We're going to head out on the road to share with Canadians everything we're going to be doing for the year and years ahead as we focus on them. So stay tuned right here to find out more about the budget today and in the weeks to come.
That's 93 seconds of my life that I'm never going to get back, and 93 brain cells that I'm sure I just lost through seething rage. Croissant. Michael Scriven says, did he say croissant? Yes, because croissant means to grow and expand, because that's what croissants do in the oven. By the way, get down here, camera. Follow me, camera. Wrong way. Oh, the see, technology brings new problems down here. There we go. This way. Okay. Nice. Audio's good, everybody. Let's bring this mic. Oh, there we go. I bought this for my wife when I came back from Vegas, meet up with Robert Barnes, Eric Hunley, Mark Grobert from America's Untold Stories. It was a selfish purchase because I knew that I was going to end up using it myself. I knew it. She doesn't like this cup. I know that she has her favorite cup in the pantry that holds the cups, the cupboard. I knew that this was going to be good. Now, I saw a chat that I want to bring up. Where was it? Oh, yes, it was here. Let me just make sure I can. They live to help and also help to die with a maid. By the way, that's going to be how they're going to make sure that the healthcare system can pay for itself. It's just burn out the useless wood, like gather it and set it on fire, and it'll be better for the rest of the forest. Let's save some of the costs on the people who they're a burden on the system in any case. So, allowing them to decide to end their lives, it will actually save us money. So let's maybe go ahead and encourage them to do that. Maybe one of them can donate their spine for a nice little purse that someone can make and sell on Instagram. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone on the East Coast. Good morning on the West Coast, and good evening in Europe, and top of the morning to you if you're in New Zealand, Australia. Let me just make sure that we're simultaneously live on all the platforms on which we should be live. We are live on Rumble. We are live on YouTube, and we are live on Locals, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Standard disclaimers: no medical advice, no legal advice, no election fortification advice. My Clips channel is under attack. There's quite clearly no question about that. What was I going to say? Super chats, people. If you see these little things called super chats, thank you for supporting the channel. Bear in mind that YouTube takes 30% of those super chats. If you want to be efficient about it for both supporting free speech and for the creator, go to Rumble, Viva Frei. They have Rumble rants. They take 20%, so better for the creator, better for the platform to support free speech. If you want to support us, go to vivabarneslaw.locals.com. $7 a month, $70 a year, or more for those who actually choose to pay more than the monthly minimum. Tons of great content, a wonderful community. We are all above average in that community. When we go to Rumble, we're going to talk about the horrendous act of evil violence that we witnessed yesterday. That some of us witnessed, some of us, some videos are popping up online. We'll talk about that on Rumble. I hate these things. I hate these stories, as should everybody with half a soul and half a conscience, because for those who are able to close their eyes and have what is referred to as hot empathy, and actually be able to visualize and actually feel such horror, it makes it difficult to go on with our days. It makes it difficult to go on, just like life goes on. I mean, that's it. The news reports on things, and then a couple weeks later, they've moved on. But the horror and the tragedy will be forever for those affected. And then the systematic, standard responses, the cycle plays itself over and over again. An act of outrageous violence, inhumane, evil violence occurs. Everybody seems to be, the first ones to want to chime in with their political spin, with their hot take. Some people don't think twice before offering their hot take. To the infinite perpetuity of the interwebs, the lies begin, the exaggerations begin, the rumors begin, and it happens, and then the media circus moves on, and everybody else's life goes on except for those who have been permanently, irreparably affected by the act of violence. And it's hard to get around, and it's hard to talk about. And then there's the other part about it, like talking about it, because the media knows this. And I'm very delicate in the way I talk about these things. The media knows that the incessant coverage, and I dare say even the glamorizing in the imagery and the images used, they know it inspires copycats. They know it. There's ample studies about it. And I can't even pretend that this is my knowledge. This has been known since we were kids, since I was kids. Every time there's a massive act like this, and they go and they delve in, they give the perpetrators of this violence the attention that they were starved for in their daily life, most of the time, that they sought this violence in order to get the attention that they were lacking in their daily lives. The media gives it to them posthumously, for those who do this as an act of a final act, posthumously. But nonetheless, everybody knows that it proves to be inspirational, and yet nonetheless, the media comes out every time and does the same thing over and over again. We'll talk about that there on Rumble, because there's some stuff to go through. It's for me, the shocking thing, above and beyond the absolute act of depravity and evil are the reactions and the responses. We're going to get to the Pacman tweet, but did someone say that Pacman was on Patrick Bet David? I saw someone earlier on. There's a couple of tweets. I mean, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're going to talk about that on Rumble because I don't, who doesn't take a moment just to step back and say, regardless of what I mean by this tweet, how can it be misinterpreted? So we'll get there. We'll get there on Rumble when we move over. But for now, we're going to start. Okay, which way does this stupid thing go? Okay, there we go. We don't want to see the megalodon tooth in the background. It's gonna. This camera wants to see the megalodon tooth in the background. See, it's going. It's going. When you see there, like right over there, you're going to see it in a second. A beautiful megalodon tooth that I bought at, of all places, FAO Schwartz, when it was still open before it closed down. I think it opened up again. Yeah, Pacman destroyed Patrick Bet. When? Today, John Niemi? Was it today that it happened? Anyhow, cops knew about it. Okay, I'll start this. We'll get to it later. For the time being, tweets. People don't think about them, or they do think about them and know exactly how they're going to be misinterpreted. Now, for those of you who follow me on Twitter, you know that I've been having something of a back and forth with Canadian. She's still a journalist. I know that she got fired from Global News. Or, sorry, I don't know that she got fired. I know that she no longer works for Global News. There's rumorings that she got fired from Global News. I don't care. I don't want to mock or revel in someone having lost their job, even if it's for a cause. It's going after people's employment or reveling in their loss of employment. It's not something that I choose to do, revel in, or use as a point of mockery or derision. Rachel Gilmore, I've been having some back and forth, and it's gonna lead into it's something that's gonna lead into today. But on Sunday, I'm gonna show you the video. I'm gonna show you the tweet. I'm sorry. I'm gonna show you the tweet first. And speaking of whether or not we think tweets are deliberately or accidentally misleading, we're gonna go to this one. Okay, this is where the journey starts. Now, sorry, I almost forgot about my introduction. I'm a little reluctant to do the video or, to talk about these tweets because I don't want anybody going and harassing Rachel Gilmore. And like, full stop. You know this. Everybody knows this. I'm almost reluctant to because Rachel Gilmore does go to Twitter and make quite a big deal of when she thinks she's being wrongly attacked or, makes a big deal of nasty comments that she gets, which are nasty comments, even if they get absolutely no traction, even if they're just like the random ramblings that necessarily go along with posting something to hundreds of millions of people. She likes to make good use of those to demonize the critics of her. And so I always say, do it just to prove a point. Be nice with Rachel, even when you are expressing your discontent with her. Now, I'll call her, as you're going to see in one of these tweets, I'm going to accuse her of promoting a very bad message ideology. But avoid the obvious stuff. First of all, never threats, never violence, full stop, no buts. And as much as some people don't like that, tough noogies, that's me, and you take it because that's my philosophy. And to do anything else is to be, your own thing, but something that that I don't approve of, and I don't find respectful in the public discourse, even if I do use hot language sometimes. So even this, despite, I'm reluctant to talk about it because I don't want her saying, look, right-wing podcaster sent his hordes of angry subs over to bother me and harass me. Don't do that. Does that mean that I'm going to be then, to some degree, indirectly silenced from addressing the madness because I know that that's going to be the response one way or the other? No. So I happen to get Rachel Gilmore's tweets. She hasn't blocked me yet. Okay, that's fine. I don't block anybody. Joe Biden was in Canada meeting with Justin Trudeau. There was a tweet that came out. It started with Tonda McCharles, who I think has actually blocked me on Twitter, but it doesn't matter. The White House pool reporter who was in the motorcade. There were dozens of protesters in front of Parliament and dozens onlookers more further down the street. Your pooler saw one protester holding a Nazi salute with his left arm. Okay, that was one tweet. Then the retweet comes from Rachel Gilmore, which says, a pool reporter says there was a Nazi salute from one of the convoy protesters as the motorcade drove past. The question is this, chat, and I'll ask it, and I'm not going to put it up as a poll question. It's not that important. When you read this tweet, what is your impression of what is being described here? Is your impression that what is being described is that there is a far-right, neo-Nazi, anti-Semitic supporter among the protesters? Or is your impression that there is a protester who is mocking Joe Biden and or Justin Trudeau as being fascist tyrants by invoking that image and that saying, "Hail Justin" or "Hail Brandon," to mock them and call them fascist tyrants? 1, 4, you think that what is being described here is that there is a bona fide neo-Nazi, anti-Semitic element of the protest. 1 is that. And 2, it is intended to be mockery to deride Joe Biden and or Justin Trudeau as being fascist dictators. 1, legit. 2, satire. Let's hear what the chat says. I got 1, 2 already. That's interesting. I got 3 2s, 4 2s, 5 2s. All right. Well, I say to this, the camera's moving again. I say to this, and this is where it started. Do I go back here? That this tweet is deliberately misleading. And I say, I will not believe that there was someone doing a Nazi salute in the crowd. Oh, do I not have all of it? I got to go get it. Hold on. Here we go. I just go to look for it. And this was the image, by the way, of the first image allegedly of the man doing a Nazi salute. Okay, that was one. That was later on down in Rachel Gilmore's thread. Later on down still was a video, which apparently seems to be from the point of view of the person doing the salute. And this is the video.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, this has got to be the one then. Okay, I got to get my salute going.
Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon.
Hail, Brandon! Oh, here we go. Yeah, this has got to be the one then.
So that's it. Now, the question is, in the reporting of that tweet, with evidence that comes later on in the tweet, what would be a reasonable person's understanding? She may be correct, though. Rickety comes in with this is the argument. Technically correct, but misleading is still dishonesty through omission, in my humble view. As much as I had the funny joke, hold on, I'll have to pull it up here because now I was just describing exactly what happened. There was someone there holding up a Yahtzee salute. Here. And now, in retrospect, because life can only be lived forwards but understood backwards, you recall in the early days of the protest when they were saying there was a swastika in the crowd of the protesters, and everyone was like, oh my God, it's a bunch of racist anti-Semites. That's what the media went with. Now I'm going to be inclined to believe, okay, maybe there was one jackass with a swastika flag among the protesters who was trying to make the same message that this guy was making here, which not one that I make, but one that has been done before to mock fascist tyrants. White European cisgender male dresses like Hitler and does Nazi salute. Rachel, I was just reporting what happened. Gilmore. Last one. This was just a fun repartee. Just reporting what happened. Now I'm not so convinced that if there was a Nazi supporter, although it was one of the explanations from the beginning of the Ottawa protest, it was there to attempt to paint the Trudeau regime as a fascist dictatorship of a regime. That was one of the explanations given, but that certainly wasn't the way the media described it. Anyhow, so the other, so that was the weekend back and forth. But listen to this. This is a TikTok video that Rachel Gilmore put out yesterday, and people are gonna I guess we'll play the original just so nobody accuses me of taking things out of context.
Could social media entirely be banned for anyone under 18 who doesn't get their parents' permission to use it? The state of Utah is about to find out. It's all thanks to this guy, Utah Governor Spencer Cox. He signed 2 bills into law on Thursday that restrict social media access for youth from 10:30 p.m. until 6:30 a.m. and that also require age verification to use the applications and parental permission to do so.
These are standard rules regardless in any event. I haven't looked into this law to determine whether or not this is an entirely accurate representation of the bill that has been proposed. These are the rules already for YouTube. I think it's 13 years old. There are already age restrictions to social media that people don't use, that YouTube abuses of the fact that they're not being used so they can actually track minors and then, run targeted ads directed at the minors by unlawfully gathering data on the minors and then paying massive fines, which represent, a day's worth of profit. But let's keep going here.
On top of that, it gives parents lots of power to access all of your private conversations on social media.
Typically, these are rights, and not just rights, obligations that parents typically have regardless.
There have been lots of very valid criticisms of the impact social media has on the mental health of young people.
Such as self-harm ideations in young women, contagion-like promotion of certain ideologies among young impressionable youths, leading to self-harm, suicidal ideations, and in fact suicide, such as but let's gloss over that and let's get into the crux of this.
But detractors of this law say that it could violate the First Amendment rights of these young people.
First Amendment rights of young people, children. Now, I am a very, very staunch supporter of First Amendment rights. Children have things called parents, and children acquire certain rights as of a certain age, and do not have the right to this.
And it could hurt access to safe spaces for young people who might be able to have conversations online that they can't have with their parents. Now, it's
safe spaces online for children to have conversations that they can't have with their parents. We'll come back to that in a second. Just finish.
Pretty much certain that this law is going to be challenged in the courts. But if it survives those challenges, it's possible that other governments could follow suit, and some are already considering doing so. Do you think this is the right step or no? But detractors of this law say that it could violate the First Amendment rights of these young people. And it could hurt access to safe spaces for young people who might be able to have conversations online that they can't have with their parents.
Safe spaces for minors to have conversations online with strangers that their parents don't know about is exactly what gave rise to certain security features that were, the underpinnings of Section 230 immunity. The chat rooms, anonymous chat rooms, where you have conversations with minors that their parents don't know about. There's a word for that. There's a word for that, and it's not a good word. And by the way, I'm not attributing, these are the arguments being raised. I'm not personally attributing this to Rachel Gilmore, though, by the sounds of the reporting, I don't know if this is reporting, commentary, or indoctrination. That's the word I'm thinking about, Honor. And I make the joke, I tweet to her, I say, do you have any idea, do you hear yourself? Safe spaces online where children can have conversations with strangers, anonymous strangers, unbeknownst to their parents. Do you know how dangerous that is for children? And people are rightly pointing out she doesn't have children. And I'm aware of that. And we live in a world now that is so upside down and so backwards that some people, I don't know, I'm not saying Rachel in particular, some people think they are virtuous and thinking they are looking out for children by not protecting them or by protecting their ability, their right to expose themselves to danger. Nobody should be getting in between the parents and their kids unless there's overt objective abuse. And I tell this to people, and I tell this to my kids, to other kids, adults should know better than to talk to kids without their parents being present. Adults should know better than stopping to ask a kid for directions. I mean, I say any adult that doesn't know better than stopping and asking a kid for directions already has a problem. And those that do know better and that do it anyhow have an even bigger problem. But we're living in and it's going to segue into when we go to Rumble. We're living in an absolute upside down backwards world where I do not believe that they don't know that it's actually what they're promoting. Not just this, but everything at large, because it's part of a system now. It's part of an ecosystem. I do not believe that they do not know that it's dangerous for kids. I believe that they wholeheartedly know that it's dangerous, that it's destructive, that it will be exploited by the most nefarious actors, the most nefarious predators out there, and they don't care because A, they get those wonderful virtue points from it, and it's how they build their own credibility, reputation, and satisfy their own sense of ego. And or B, they partake in it and they get satisfaction out of partaking in it. Scree, they want the ability to corrupt and brainwash young people. They don't care at all about First Amendment rights. They care about First Amendment rights for children until that 16-year-old kid in Canada says there's only 2 genders and then gets slapped with a fine. They care about First Amendment rights until someone has the audacity of not respecting, of identifying someone biologically and not based on preferred pronouns. It's an absolute upside down world, and it's one that I am now noticing is becoming increasingly focused on breaking up the family unit. I mean, this is it. Like, this is full black pill Viva now. I've been alive and conscious of my ignorance for long enough that I remember people saying these entities, and I'm not saying left-wing, these nefarious actors want to destroy the nuclear family. I remember from my childhood, you know, they want to destroy the nuclear family. They want to do it because it's easier to control the people. I've now lived long enough to have swallowed this black pill. And now, I've been telling you about, I've been listening to Michael Malice's white pill all week. I haven't gotten to the white pill part yet. What I've gotten to is listening to Mutatis Mutandis. It's not the same in extent, but it's certainly directionally the same. Stalin's Great Terror, communism at large, fascism as well. It's not letting Hitler off the hook. Breaking up the family unit, making a god of the government, destroying the basic pillars of what made society functional and healthy. I'm seeing it happen in real time now, and I remember people saying this to me 6, 7, 8 years ago, maybe 10 years ago. I remember seeing these elements of this when I was a kid, and now I can finally put 2 and 2 together. Oh, Big Pharma keeps changing the color, David. All right, with all that said, people, let's go over to Rumble anyhow, and we're going to get into the wonderful hot takes. And like I say, even maple syrup, I tell you what, we're living through this black pill together. I think the white pill is a great awakening. The white pill is everybody recognizing this now, identifying it. The attack on family. And look, call me controversial. I know that people have problems with Pete Buttigieg and his family, you know, gay couples adopting. I know people have problems with that. I don't. Call me controversial, and I'll agree to disagree with anybody who's, you know, I understand the argument. Biological parents, man and a woman, I understand it. 2 loving parents is all I need in life, even if they're not biological parents. So that's it. Let us go over to Rumble now. Okay, ending on YouTube, going over to Rumble, and we will continue there. 3, 2, 1.